Welcome to Next Level Direct, Episode 4. I'm one of your co-hosts, Andrew. I make the show Midori, and I'm joined tonight by the tech guru, Agent Vincent.
Hello, everyone.
And hopefully, very soon, we will be joined
Very soon.
by Jersey Tom. Actually, let's get his... where's his image at? There it
Oh,
is.
there
There's that
it is.
beautiful man. Let's get that beautiful man in here. His offline image. Guys, if you don't know, Next Level Direct is a monthly conversational gaming podcast. We do it on Discord, actually, at discord.gg/levelupnetwork. But tonight is the very first time that we are also doing it on Twitch, with the hope that we might get some more people into our Discord and hope that we might get more people taking advantage of the interactive aspect of this show, because through stage channels on Discord, you can raise your hand at any point in the conversation and we will jump over to you when the time is right to either discuss what we are already discussing or allow you to bring in a new question towards that discussion, or maybe offshoot into another discussion entirely. So we'll be doing that through each of our four main topics tonight, and then at the very end of the show, if we have the time, we could do a full 10-minute, 15-minute Q&A session as well, and really allow you guys to offshoot into some other territory. I see that on Discord we have Resonance, Kurt, Sherry, we got Mike here, Derek, Chubrock, Juicy Jilly. Thank you so much for being there on the Discord. All you watching on Twitch at twitch.tv/The Level Up Show, like Fuzzbucket, Razor, Brett, and anybody else. Thunderous Quiet, I think, as well. Jump on over to Discord. You can mute it for now if you would like, but have it at the ready. That way, if you do have the itch to call in, raise your hand, old school Level Up style, you're able to do that and become a part of the conversation. We've four main topics tonight that we wanted to get into. We're going to talk about the TwitchLeak, the new boost feature as well. We'll go into PlayStation and the acquisition of Bluepoint Games, which feels like forever ago, but it actually isn't. Yeah. Because of, I guess, because of the rumors and the flub that they had over at PlayStation Japan. It just feels like it happened so long ago, but that actually is in like the last couple of weeks that we had the Bluepoint acquisition. And that feeds into another conversation point we wanted to get to, which is, what is the next big, great PlayStation remake to be announced soon? There's a lot of rumors going around right now about remakes for PlayStation, so we're going to dive into those, and that also feeds into another final conversation point, which is the almost confirmed story at this point that Konami is reviving several IPs.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of good stuff to talk about tonight. Thank you so much to Thunderous Quiet for the resub there. Speaking of, I am going to start the stream timer right now, and it'll just feed throughout the night, because I will be going live after this stream, of course, with oh god, what am I playing? Am I going to be playing Resident
Evil?
I was going to, but I haven't downloaded it.
Dun dun dun. Conundrums.
I just realized. Should I do it now? Should I do it live?
Probably should. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a game.
It's not that big, right? You probably could even get started on it. About time. But in the meantime, I actually want to give you the floor for a moment here, and I don't know if you want to discuss it. It's up to you or not, but it kind of relates to what our first conversation point is. We're going to talk about Twitch. We're going to talk about the leak, especially, I think, is a good starting point. And to anybody that does not know what happened, there was a massive breach of security at Twitch, and although I don't think any passwords or like credit card information or anything like that was leaked, no. All of the earnings information for thousands of top streamers was put out there, and really the source code to the entire site. So they are susceptible to further breaches. But I want to go to you, Vince. I know that I saw you talking about it on our Discord, and I think on your Discord as well, about how seeing all of this earnings information, really, I mean, and from what we understand, it's 100% accurate. Seeing the top 10,000 or so and what they've earned over the past 2 years, pretty much. How did that make you feel to see all that information? Did you feel dirty, first of all, looking at it? And then also, like, how did you feel in response to it all?
Yeah, I mean, like, you have that weird, like, this is stuff I really shouldn't be seeing because, like, again, it's personal information. That's their earnings, That'd be like all of us displaying our paychecks from our jobs, it's weird, right? But it's also weird because, like, we all knew this in a way, right? You could guesstimate it in a way. But it's really hard whenever you see like the final, like, cold hard numbers, right? And yeah, it was just kind of discouraging, really, to be honest. Seeing all those numbers back to back, and it wasn't even some of the top numbers. Like some of the other ones were like ridiculous. It was like, yeah, no, whatever. But then like seeing like someone's like monthly, whatever, is just like it's like close to what I make a year. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's hard. You sit there and just look at it. And it's like, especially kind of like where I am right now with work and everything like that. I was just like that was I don't know, man. That was like getting hit over the head with something. It was like, wow.
It was bizarre because as you said, even when you go down towards the smaller streamers of it
Yeah.
all, like they're doing very well, even at the small level. If you want to consider that, it makes us feel probably like we're like, what are we then? If we're not the small
Yeah.
streamer, what are we? And what are we to Twitch as
Well,
well,
that was the
right?
yeah, and that was the thing that I think I saw someone tweet out because like it was someone did the math. It was like if you're someone who streams to like 4 or 5 people, like you were in like the upper like 30% of Twitch. Like think about that. Like you were in the upper 30% like numbers there. And then if you're streaming to like 25 or something like that, you're like in the upper like 15 percentile. And then just going up to even like 40 or whatnot, you were like within the 10%. And I was just like, this is there's no growth there. There's no growth on that platform at all. Like if you're saying like even like those smaller viewer numbers and you're already in that upper tier of that, I was just like, that's
Yeah.
where is there to grow? It's like that's a curated greenhouse at this point.
And like, what do you think is I've seen a lot of people say that they're done with Twitch in response to this, and my first thought was like, this is what did it for you? Like I was like, because there's been a lot recently that's
Right.
happened at Twitch, and some things that I think really are much more egregious than this in our perspective, because like if anyone should be upset, in my opinion, it should be the people who had their earnings information leaked and are now being
Yeah.
torn to pieces because how dare you make this much money, which is not fair at all. It's like not my fault. I'm
No, they're
making
entertainers.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
like that's not their fault at all. They're making a living. They're working hard. Honestly, if they're in
Yeah.
that top 10,000, I can almost guarantee you they are working hard. So that's not fair at all. So I see a lot of people saying right now, I'm this is it. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. I am out. And I'm just curious, like from your perspective, like being pretty upset about this as well, or just feeling like you had the wind taken out of your sails, like how you're feeling about that.
Well, like I had announced on my Discord, which when we talked for a little quick minute there, because I talked to Mike about it for a little bit right after one stream. I've had really great support on my streams and everything like that, but just got to the point where I was just like, I need to take a break. I need
Yeah,
to walk away from this in a way, because it was just the point where like I was trying to, I've refreshed a couple of my stuff there. I don't have consistency in my schedule anymore, which we talked about. That's a huge thing for this type of platform. And yeah, so I'm taking a break from it. And it's like I'm not done with Twitch, but what really does kill me is it's not the earnings. I don't care about that stuff. Like you said, those people work hard, especially some of those top tier people. They're literally working with a team. They're doing live video content. They're pushing out stuff to TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. They're doing all that stuff, and they're doing that every single day to keep
right,
that machine going. So that's hard work. That's them doing their job. It's more the fact of like the site does not have discoverability. The site does not have growth on it, or in the way to where the discoverability and organic growth that you can have with it. And it ties more into the fact of where I think the final straw for me was the boost feature for me. I think it's really kind of like what like really set off the powder keg in my head to where it was just like I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about anything about the site
yeah.
anymore.
So let's talk about that a little bit. The boost feature. Well, actually, before I get to that, let me just say, like, hearing your perspective on it all, and hearing before the stream that you were going to take a break, it does sort of put it into overall perspective as well, that like how discouraging this moment was for so many streamers. And I said on my Discord that it wasn't like that discouraging to me because I've already reached like peak discouragement. So
Discouragement.
so I feel like I couldn't become any more discouraged at this point. But I get it. I do get it that it's when you don't have that drive because you've become so discouraged, that it affects, first off, the quality of your streams. It affects your mental well-being. It's and it can be the smart thing and the right thing to do for yourself, without a doubt, to take a breather and take a moment and kind of reassess the situation, figure out what's important to you, and where you want to be, or if you even want to do this. I think a lot of streamers feel like they've been doing it for so many years that they can't stop, right? Like,
Right.
and it's sometimes I felt like that too. It's like, we have a community that we're here for now, and you feel like you can't abandon them. It's like,
Right.
nope, I'm doing this for the rest of my life because like I have to, like, I can't leave them. What are they going to do without me? And like, they will
Right.
go on. Their lives will go on. They'll be just fine without you. But that's the thing, is in your head, you feel like you have to be there, and that's really not the case. So I'm glad that you have really kind of dug deep and are trying to figure out what's right for you, as opposed to anybody else at this moment, because you have to put yourself first a lot of the time. But going back to the boost feature, this was also a very discouraging thing. I think what kind of started the moment actually for us before
Yeah.
the leak. This is not something that's brand new. They have it right now as a community redemption goal for select streamers. I don't have access to it. Some do. You guys know how AP works on my channel, for example. AP is something you can use for redemptions. There's community goals. We've done community goals in the past. We did one for Fall Guy at one point, I remember. Well, some select streamers have a community goal where they can allow the viewers to put their AP towards a boost. And once they hit a certain threshold, their channel is boosted to certain recognizable areas on the front page of Twitch for a certain number of viewers, and somehow they are assessing this, where it's like, this many people, 1,000 or 3,000 or 5,000, have seen with their eyeballs, hopefully, that person's
Yeah.
Twitch name on the front page, either on the sidebar or on the recommended channels, or somewhere. And once you've hit the certain number, then you no longer are boosted on the front page. So they're taking that to another level now, and it's no longer going to be about AP redemption or points redemption, channel points, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a paid for option for really anybody. So you can, from what I've seen on like a certain image, you could put down $1 or $3 or $5, and that might get you 1,000 recommendations, as it called on the front page, or 3,000 or 5,000. So what automatically came to, I think, our minds is, okay, what is stopping a
Yep.
big streamer? Let's start with that. What's stopping a big streamer who has a shit ton of money from using that money to boost themselves to the front page? What is stopping somebody that has connections with somebody that has the money to boost them to the front page? What happens when a certain streamer is connected, affiliated with a company that is benefiting from his exposure? Does that company now have access to the boost feature to get him on the front page and then reap the benefits of that? There's a lot of questions there, but the big thing that we felt is, how does this benefit the small streamer? This seems like this benefits the big streamers that will just become even bigger, and that seems to be par for the course on Twitch. In discoverability, is anybody who's small is just going to stay small, and the big streamers are the
Yeah.
ones they just want to keep growing, because that's the money makers. Those are the whales. So they just want the big streamers to just keep growing and growing and growing. So how does this benefit the small streamer, right, Vince?
Right. And the hard thing is we kept looking at it, and it was like, there's not a guarantee it helps at all. It's just an advertisement type deal, and you don't even know. And yeah, it just, everything about it just feels scummy.
Yeah.
And that's one of the weirdest things too. Like, even like talking about like companies, like, what's to say, like, Sony has a certain select few streamers that they partner up with, and they know like one is like, maybe not super high. Like, what's to stop someone like Sony going, okay, here's, our $50 boost revenue day for that thing, so we can sit there and just push all that. Which I know they have probably different agreements with Twitch, but like, that's like a thing. What's gonna stop like that type of stuff? That's
Yeah,
just,
and like you said, when it came to channel points redemption, okay, no money was going towards this. So
right.
if you don't know for sure that it's working, then okay, it's not the worst thing in the
Yeah.
world. But now people are going to be putting real world currency towards this boost. And I'm wondering if they're going to have some system in place to allow the streamer and the viewers of that streamer at that moment to know, hey, this person came to the channel because they found it through the boost feature on the front page. Because that really is what needs to happen for this to be successful at all, in my opinion. There needs to be a tangible reward. You need to
Right.
know that it worked. And the only way I can think of to know that is when you have that, hey, this channel's been boosted at the top of your chat. It says one person has found this channel, 3 people have found this channel, 10 people have found this channel through boost. You know what I mean? And maybe it doesn't need
Right.
to say who those people are, because maybe that would be something they don't want to be known, but at least like have a number up there that says how many people have seen it or clicked on the channel or something to let you know it is working at the least, right? Let's go to the chat here for a second. Mike's here. So he says, that's all they care about. Us looking at that list was a perfect example. We knew a few of those names. Doing this gets everyone bigger that makes money for Amazon the chance to make more money. I subbed to these 3 streamers, but I found this other big name that people seem to like since they have tons of views. I'll sub to these new ones too. That's the thing. People don't,
Yeah.
I would say, if I'm just guessing, I have no evidence of this, right? But if you're searching, browsing on Twitch, and you are looking by game, most people do not click on recommended for me. People go highest to lowest, and they are looking at the people with the most number of viewers, and then they click into those channels. They're not diving down the potentially hundreds of streamers that are streaming that game. They are going at the, the path of least resistance, which is, okay, this guy has lots of viewers, he must be good. This girl has lots of viewers, she must be good. I'm clicking on this one. And that's it.
Right.
And they're going to call it a day. And it's kind of crazy to me because they are getting no feedback from that streamer, probably, right? They're getting no interaction. There's no connection. They're just there. The big streamers, they don't react with the chat for the most part, right? There's no interaction whatsoever. So it's kind of crazy to me that Twitch, which is this very interactive platform, has most people watching streamers that aren't interactive. Once you get to a certain threshold, it's kind of impossible to be
It's impossible
interactive.
to keep up with that chat. Yeah. It's impossible.
And King Kurt does the opposite. He goes lowest to highest. I like that, King Kurt. Good for you. I like that. My money is on Amazon unveiling sub package deal. In addition or instead of Prime, you can purchase a package of 5 subs for 10% off, 10 subs for 15%. I could see that. Yeah, honestly could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people will take advantage of that because it would actually be a value for people that do sub a lot. So I wouldn't be opposed to that, actually. I just hope, like, how can they improve this, Vince? The boost feature, how do they make it work for us?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's like one for me is like if you hit a certain viewer threshold, there is no boost feature for you. Sorry, there's just simply none. Is you already have some machine in place that is doing that for you. I don't think the site needs to be helping you out, with that. It doesn't need to be doing that. The other thing too is like if there's going to be a threshold, it also needs to be a thing to where it's a dynamic thing. Like if it's for 1,000 recommendations on like say like my channel, average of 4 viewers most of the time, right?
Yep.
That needs to be lesser money for someone to want to put that money down than like, say someone who streams like more in like the 75 or 100. That might need to have a little bit more of a price increase because, that's, they're a little bit bigger. They're making more of that type of stuff there, That's how I see it. It's just one of those as you grow bigger, to boost yourself to more people, you need to actually keep doing that. You need to keep raising up that price a little bit.
I was going to say
That's
the
how you
exact same
benefit
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's how you benefit the small streamers. If you make the small streamers try to pay out the same even playing field like the big streamers are, small streamers are going to lose out every single time.
I do think there is a sort of explosion in awareness right now towards this issue. I'm sure Twitch already knew it was one, right? Maybe they just don't care.
Right.
But sort of like the Twitch Do Better campaign and all that, there seems to be a new campaign starting in smaller numbers right now, but maybe it grows, about discoverability on Twitch and how bad it really is, because it is absolutely terrible. And now they are literally monetizing discoverability. Pretty much putting the onus on the streamer and the viewers of that streamer to improve their discoverability. And it's just it blows my mind that they haven't really figured out any type of avenue to attack it on their end.
Well,
or
it's even crazier
if
to
they
me.
want to, right?
Right. It's even crazier to me. It's like, it just shows to me on like how much um Amazon has kind of not put the fire to Twitch at this point. Whenever Twitch was independent, we all talked about before, there was that hunger, that craving, they were constantly trying to push the thing a little bit, right? And then whenever they got acquired by Amazon, it was like there was still some movement there. And then the moment Mixer kind of like folded and everything like that in the Facebook gaming, I feel like we've seen Twitch just completely just, you know,
Coast.
hands off the wheel at this point.
Yeah,
It's
for the
just we're
most
just
part, they've
chilling
done
back here.
some good things. I do feel like they've
Right.
done a couple of good things, but yes, I agree. For the most part, they have coasted. I think if Mixer would have taken off, you would have seen a much different Twitch right now. Obviously,
Yep.
it's
Same thing with
it has to
YouTube
be.
gaming.
Yeah,
If YouTube would ever get their shit in gear, pardon my language, but if they'd ever get their like interactive stuff taken care of and everything like that and actually be
yeah,
comparable to that way, then it would be a big changing because then you have Google's entire network, which is crazy.
right. And one,
That's actually not controversial at all, Mike. TikTok actually has a huge Twitch scene. It's actually a bunch of where a lot of Twitch streamers now will actually post all their clips and everything like that. It's
yeah,
a huge thing.
one of the another areas we're failing in, right? Not using,
Yeah. Well,
of
I mean, like
course.
it's actually huge, huge there, like where
Yeah.
it's even more just like smaller content or even like mini ad pushes for their Twitch channel. That's where TikTok, it's where like it's huge there.
I do wonder who's going to be the next big competitor to try and give some type of some type of battle, some type of impact on Twitch in any way, shape, or form. Because I feel like none of them really are in a major way right now. I think Twitch still feels like, yeah, we're good, we're fine. I'm not worried. I feel like they are totally in that camp right now. But I wonder when that's going to change. I hope it does change. It
Yeah.
needs to. It needs to change. And one other thing I
It
want to
does.
talk about, and this is more sensitive, so I'm going to be very delicate about this. I talked about it on our Discord. One of the big things that people are talking about in response to this is the ratio of male to female streamers. If you like, and that doesn't even count LGBTQIA, like the whole range, right? But if you're
Right.
really just going purely male female, the range was something like at best 15%, depending on the perspective of the top like 1,000 or 10,000. I can't remember. Is women. So a lot of people are saying, okay, here you go. There are the numbers. There's no effect on men, and there's no stealing views women from men. Which, first of all, let me say, yes, you're 100% right, because there's no such thing as stealing views.
Yeah. There's
There's
no
no
such
such
thing as
thing as
stealing views.
stealing views. It's just get rid of that terminology immediately. It doesn't make any sense because Twitch is growing, right? Twitch is growing. It has organic growth, and I think what we're actually seeing is just not displacement, but addition. It's just women are going onto the platform. More people, more viewers are coming onto the platform in response to that, and men are just assuming that it's affecting them in some way. But what I will say is the conversation is way too simplified, because what would be much more interesting is seeing 3 years ago what would have been the top 10,000. How many women would have been on the top 10,000 3 years ago? 4 years ago, before Just Chatting existed. Let's talk about that. 4 years ago, before Just Chatting existed, what would have been the ratio then? I can almost guarantee you that there has been a lot of growth in the female presence in the top 10,000 on Twitch in the last 4 years. The question is, what is the trajectory moving forward? How does their growth continue, and does it continue at such a rate that it does affect the male audience and their viewership? Again, doesn't mean stealing. That's not the word anybody should be
Yeah.
using. It's just a question of like, okay, how does the community, the viewership respond to this? How does it move around? That is much more interesting to me than, hey, there you go. They're not stealing your views. End of story. Like that's not what's going on here, and that's way too simplified. And what we have right now, the statistics that we have, are not enough for us to really make any type of claim one way or the other on what is happening on Twitch and the demographics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
And that's as far as I'm gonna go with it because I want to be delicate because
Right.
I was like should I tweet this out? I was like no, I'm gonna be called an incel or something about this because people are just gonna twist it to be he hates women like, and that's not what I'm saying at all
No.
because I have no issue at all with what is happening on Twitch right now and how viewership is being affected. I just find it very, very interesting and curious, and I'd like to see more detailed numbers actually, or like a timeline of of growth for women on the platform. That would be much more interesting to me. Here's an insight from Brain and Black, who is a scriptwriter, wrote our most recent script, which is amazing. He said, here's an insight from someone that has been around since the very beginning of the platform, i.e. the Justin TV days. There are always a set of big streamers that seem to get all the viewers, which is true for most of the casual viewers. However, it is the smaller streamer that has the most stable and loyal community, and in turn, a type of community that supports the person monetarily for a far longer time. There's a reason why affiliate streamers are a thing. There are many. I mean, I feel like I am probably the perfect example of that. I mean,
Right.
the if you were to take the amount of revenue I bring in with like 15 people, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like you multiply that by like to like the 15,000 that some have, and I would be a millionaire. It would be ridiculous. So I 100% agree with that, Brain and Black. When you have such a passionate, devoted, loyal, small community, they are bonkers bananas, I think is the right word for it.
Bananas,
Right words.
correct term.
Words for it.
Correct words. Yes.
Anyway, let's call it there on Twitch conversation. I do not believe we've had anybody raise their hand. I'm going to check again real quick. We do not. Don't forget, guys, if you would like to, on Discord, we have 9 people in the audience, which is amazing. Get on over to discord.gg/the Level Up Network. We are in the Next Level Direct stage channel. We are allowing you to call in if you would like and join the conversation. So take advantage of that. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your voice.
Yes.
Your sexy voices. In the end, most of the viewers will find their streamer and will support them for a very long time. I've been streaming on Twitch for almost 8 years now, Brain and Black. So yeah, there's a good group of people in the chat right now that have been around since the very, very, very beginning, if not the first couple of years. So you are 100% right about that. Moving on to our second point of conversation. PlayStation finally, officially has acquired Bluepoint Games, the developers behind Shadow of the Colossus PS4 remake, Demon's Souls PS5 remake, tons of amazing remasters. I think one of their best they've ever done actually was Titanfall. Ports wise, I would say actually their work on Titanfall to allow that to be on, at that point, last gen machines, was amazing what they did there. I think people were blown away by how that game ran. I think at the time on 360, right? So they're an amazing team, and they've almost been synonymous with PlayStation. They've only had 2 games, I think, throughout their entire history that was not on PlayStation or exclusive to PlayStation. So this is, in my opinion, the definition of organic growth. This is bringing in a team that has been cultivated and has blossomed. Yeah, it has this history, this legacy within PlayStation. Now, we haven't gotten a lot of information about this, but what we do know is that they are working on one confirmed project to be, quote, original content. We're going to start there. Let's stop there, actually. Original content. First thing that comes to your mind, Vince, what is it?
I don't know. It's weird because original content, I think we talked about this a little bit. It's a weird phrase, right? When you're saying original content, we didn't get the new IP phrase that we're so used to, right? We got original content, right? So my mind kind of keeps going back to they are going to make an expansion to Demon's Souls that's going to be utilizing some content from Software, but they will be making a lot more of it themselves and restoring the 5th Archstone. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's a great guess. I could 100% see that being the thing. The only reason I would say no to that is because they literally said they wouldn't do it during development because they felt like they were not in the position. They didn't have the right, almost, that they sort of said in so many words, to do that. So that makes me think it's not going to be that, but 100%, I think that is a possibility. I do agree that original content to me is specific wording. There is a reason they didn't say original IP. It would have been so easy. That everybody knows what that means. When you say original IP, everybody knows what that means. To say original content now puts this blanket over a lot of different possibilities. New IP being one of them, still the case. But saying content, God, that could mean they're working on a TV show. They're working on a YouTube video. That can mean so many different things. But in my head, it does mean that they are working on something in an established IP. Additional content or new content in an existing IP. An example of that could be Demon's Souls 2.
Right.
You know?
That's a good possibility.
Bloodborne 2 is another possibility. They are the only studio at this point, besides From, that I think has the kudos, has enough ground to stand on to say, yes, we are worthy of this. We proved ourselves. We have a 91 on Metacritic for Demon's Souls Remake. And let's also say 92 on Metacritic for Shadow of the Colossus Remake. Like, they have proven themselves, right? If anybody was allowed to take the reins and do Demon's Souls 2 or Bloodborne 2, I think they are the only ones that I would say, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be with like that too. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could actually totally 100% see that, especially with considering, I guess, on hearing some of the talks I heard about how when they like kind of talked to Japan studios who had helped with and gotten like, you know, did the primary development of Bloodborne and, you know, a good co-development of Demon's Souls, the original one, you know, and how they were all like, yeah, no, you guys are doing great. You know, keep doing this. You're doing that. Like, they didn't really have to really input that much because they were like, these guys know what they're doing, you know, or this team knows what they're doing. And I think it's also a testament to their engine. You know, their engine runs both engines at the same time. That's the really cool thing about like the Demon's Souls Remake. You're actually having the original game in most capacities running underneath all of that. And that's how it all works together. You know, it's just a really cool thing.
Do you want it to be Demon's Souls 5th Archstone? Or 6? What is it? Which number would it be?
I think it's
5th?
6, actually, now that I think.
6.
Wait, is it 5th?
I can't remember.
No, because there's...
Oh, there it is. Rick said it's 6.
6, yeah. I was like, wait, I can't remember right now. I was like, I think it would be cool because it would almost complete that game. Like, the game's complete, don't get me wrong, but it would seal off, like, that mystery aspect of it. And considering how, like, even whenever the game launched, remember, there was all that type of stuff of, like, wait, where's this weird door? There's this weird sound. There's all these other things going on. And, like, there's stuff that they found out about that. But, like, there's obvious other things hidden in that game that,
now that you bring that up, though, this isn't the first time something they've worked on had a situation like that. Shadow of the Colossus was the exact same situation where it was originally supposed to have 24 Colossi, and people kept bringing it up during development of the remake. Are you going to add on the 8 extra Colossi? And same exact thing. They said no, because we don't feel like we have the right to do that. Like, this is not our area to do that. Like, that's Ueda. If anybody's going to do it, it should be Ueda. But that's another possibility. Like, imagine if they did like the extra 8 Colossi, which they do have like information on. Like, there's concept art, there's at the least concept of what the 8 Colossi were meant to be. So they could run with that if they wanted to and do like, hey, here's a PS5 remaster of the PS4 remake of Shadow of the Colossus with the 8 extra Colossi.
Definitive edition.
The definitive edition.
Cut. The director's cut.
That would be absolutely ridiculous. It's not going to be that, but just I just think it's kind of funny that it's twice now that they've worked on something that did have this missing piece, right? That people knew about. Like the missing piece being the 8 Colossi in that case is kind of cool. Going on though, this is not it. There's a lot of rumors going around. One from a specific girl on Twitter who is getting a lot of recognition recently because she tweeted out Wolverine claws the day before the PlayStation Showcase. She knew the date of the PlayStation Showcase like a month beforehand, and now she's gone on to do a couple other major predictions or leaks as well. She seems to be the real deal, and she has come out and said that they are working on 2 projects at the same time already. They've been working on the original content for quite a while, and they've been working on a remake of a quote beloved game for quite a while as well, which brings us to our third topic as well. Let's use that as a segue. There's a new remake to be announced for PlayStation around Christmas time, rumors say. Yeah. This was based on a podcast with an Irish musician named Ava, who said that she is working on writing music for this big game to be announced in December for PlayStation. So let's kind of connect this all together. Bluepoint potentially working on a remake, very likely is working on a remake of a beloved game. Do we think that it is this December game that's going to be revealed, or do we think we have to wait a while before we find out what they're working on?
I don't know. Like, I think if the details about this, the Irish musician saying that they were writing, Irish music for this remake, it really kind of made me go like, what game are we talking about?
Yep.
It's
Yeah, definitely.
it was really hard, and I know we talked a little bit about there was like, oh my god, it could that be Metal Gear One, Metal Gear Solid One with that, but it was like, maybe it's a little bit more of a stretch. And then I was kind of like trying to remember because I haven't played it in a very, very long time, and I was like, I always feel like I had like this really weird like feeling of like I want to say Celtic, but also like Irish. I'm sorry if I'm not using the correct culture or terminology correct there, but from like Legend of Dragoon in a way, And I was wondering if like that would be like the weirdest like remake there, to where like it almost kind
I
of
never
goes
really
more.
got that vibe for Legend of Dragoon myself. I do agree with a
Okay.
lot of people that I think Chrono Cross specifically
Oh,
has that vibe. There's a
that
very,
is
very
true. I
Celtic
just
vibe in
yeah,
Chrono, and that is part of the NVIDIA leak, Chrono Cross remake. Although I think it's wrong. I think it's a Chrono Cross remaster probably, and that's it. But that's one. It's tough. It is really tough because the theme song at the end of Metal Gear Solid One, um, which I'm drawing a blank on the name. What
the
is it?
best is yet to
The
come.
best is yet to come. That is actual Irish lyrics, so that's a
Yeah,
weird coincidence. But then if you kind of listen to this interview, she's implying that she's rewriting, like, or writing like original music. It doesn't sound like
right.
she's rewriting a song, or it doesn't even sound like it's one song. Actually, it sounds like she's doing
It sounds like it's
a
like a
lot of
score or like a
music.
lot of stuff.
So that would imply to me that it's not going to be Metal Gear Solid
Right.
1, which will feed into our final point of conversation in a moment here. Um, so I really don't know. I think it's interesting that if you go off of the Demons or the Bluepoint reveal, like on the blog post and all that, they did say they have new information, more information coming in this year, like in the coming months. I think it was the verbiage or the the words that they used. So December is a possibility. There are one major thing in December is the Game Awards. And another major thing that used to happen in December is PlayStation Experience,
Yeah.
something that Sony has actually renewed the trademark for or something like that relatively recently. And PlayStation have typically been doing like a 2, 3, 4 month interval of when they have major shows
Announcements.
or
Yeah.
reveals or states of play. So December falls within that range. Um, and King Kurt, we've already kind of pointed out that they're not, because they are working on original content. They are not just doing remakes and remasters, so that is already not a thing, which is great news. But yeah, like it's possible. It could be that we get Bluepoint's remake project this year. I just think it's unlikely because I think they're going to focus on the original content first.
Right. That's
I
what I
think
feel
that's
like
the
too.
next thing they're going to talk about.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like the remake is a little far off. If we get that this year as well, then sweet. That's awesome. But yeah, I think it's going to be next year when we start hearing more about the actual remake project from Bluepoint.
Yeah. And I agree with Rick. I'm very happy with the rumor here that they're working on two projects simultaneously, because first off, that means they're growing and Sony's
Yeah,
investing in them and to bring in new people. But it also means that they are continuing to do what is their bread and butter, what people know them for and people respect them for and people love them for, which is the highest quality remakes in the industry, without a
the
doubt.
highest quality.
Without a doubt. There is nobody that compares or is consistent as them when it comes to remasters and remakes. So for them to give that up entirely would actually be a little bit disappointing in my mind. But at the same time, I want them to do what they want to do. And if they
Right.
want to do original content, and if that's all they want to do, in fact,
You go for
then
it.
okay, then that is what they should do. I want them to do what they want to do. But a part of me would be disappointed if they left remakes behind entirely, because PlayStation has a 25-year legacy.
Hmm.
And it's awesome to think that there's going to be a dedicated studio that can continue to dip into that for
Yeah, and find
years
those
and years to
games,
come.
bring them back. Yeah.
You know, even if they're obscure things. I mean, I would honestly say Legend of Dragoon is kind of
Sure.
obscure to most people.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I think if they were to do that, a lot of people are like, what? What the hell is Legend of Dragoon? Why are they doing this? I would be surprised,
But
honestly, if they
yeah,
did
and
Legend of
everybody else
Dragoon.
and people who do knew that would be freaking out from the top of
Oh
every
my
Twitter
god,
skate.
yeah. The audience that loves Legend of Dragoon is like, it's like one of my favorite games of all
It's
time
all
level. You know
time.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So they would go absolutely nuts. I'm trying to think of like what else could it possibly be at this point? Like
I mean,
what else would they remake at this point?
I mean,
Ape
as like
Escape, Mike says in chat.
yeah. Well, let's say it's a grim, dark Ape Escape. It's gonna be like
Yeah.
Demon Souls Ape Escape.
I
Jeez.
I don't know. What do you guys think in chat? What knack says Rick? Let us know in chat. What do you or call in? What do you think would be a cool thing?
Souls Ape
Croc.
Escape.
Let it go, Mel. Let it go. It's time to
Well,
let it go.
it's
Find
weird
another
because
show.
like Siphon Filter would be an interesting one for them too, even though because like Ben does not seem to want to touch that ever again.
That's true.
So it's interesting. I mean, that's again something that could really fit in their wheelhouse. It's a beloved IP from the original PS1 days.
Yeah.
Even a little bit PS2, but mostly PS1.
Yeah, I mean that game has aged
That game
considerably.
has
That first one,
aged
holy
considerably.
shit. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you actually have it's interesting now because like the story behind that actually does have a really kind of interesting like presentation to it. It has like a really great, interesting story to it. If they would flesh it out more
Yeah.
and not have just
And prior to
FMVs.
this final story, I kept wondering, like, what the hell is going on that nobody wants to fill this void that Metal Gear Solid left? No
Right?
Splinter Cell, no Siphon Filter. This massive stealth espionage action IP left for years now. And nobody has thought, okay, look at this huge hole that's been left. I can tell you, like, I have been craving something like Metal Gear Solid for years and years now, and I am not the only one. And honestly, Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't fill that void for a lot of people anyway, because it was so different from what people expected of Metal Gear Solid. So what is like going on? Like, how has there not been a Splinter Cell? How has there not been a reboot of Siphon Filter? And now we find out, based on VGC's writing, that Konami is developing revivals of Castlevania, Silent Hill, and Metal Gear Solid. Three
Completes the
major
trio.
IPs. Pretty much their three major IPs.
The three
of Konami.
Yep.
VGC writes, the first of these revivals will reportedly be a new Castlevania game, described by sources as a reimagining of the series currently in development internally at Konami in Japan with support from external Japanese studios. Let's start here. I still think, I'm just going to go with this even though it's not going to be the case, and I also want to stick it to Mike once again, that From Software doing a complete reimagining reboot, they literally said reimagining in this article here, of Castlevania would be one of the coolest things ever. From Software putting their stamp on it, doing their version of Castlevania would be freaking amazing. And I would love to see it, even though it won't happen.
I would die from the art. I would die from the art, to be honest.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Like
a vampiric world
I don't want to imagine.
From Software? It would be so cool.
I want it. Because I want it right now.
Yeah, but they said internally at Konami in Japan with support from external Japanese studios. So very likely not the case, just kind of a pipe dream. Right. But continue on with that. After that, a Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater centered remake project is also reportedly in development at Singapore-based studio Virtuous, which is just the best because that is the name of the first mission he goes on, the Virtuous mission.
Exactly.
Like, how does that happen? That's just the best.
We all know.
While Konami also intends to release remastered versions of the original Metal Gear Solid games ahead of the remake. I talked with Rick a little bit about this earlier in our Discord. What was your immediate reaction to Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, Virtuous developing it, and then just remasters of the others?
I don't know if you actually read any of my responses, but for me, I actually was like, yeah, no, this makes sense to me. But for me, what it came down to is it was like 3 has the most ease of modernizing and expansion and changing, right? There's a little bit of a really good pacing of that game there, but you could expand upon that, and I don't think that you would lose a lot of that pacing, right? Especially if you throw in like different things like, dynamic time of day if you wanted to have something like that, or make that a reward after beating the game once. The weather system could become dynamic now, which could affect the camera system because it's not part of the actual game. There's certain areas that have different weather, but stuff like that. To me, it felt like it was the most modern one. Plus, we saw that with 3, then to what is it, Subsistence. It went from that isometric top-down view down to a third-person rotating stick camera viewpoint. 3 is the one I think that has the most ease of use to translate to modern gaming, right?
Probably,
Whereas we
yeah.
talked about a little bit, we even talked about a little bit last time on the show. 1 is difficult because of what it is. Like we saw that with Twin Snakes. You had
Well, let me
first
stop you
person
for a second
shooter.
here. There's two sides to this.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3 is much more difficult than 1 and 2 if you were just doing straight remakes. Because Metal Gear Solid 3 is much, much larger in scale, much more epic than Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2. Metal Gear Solid 1 is a bunch of corridors with a couple of like large fields in between them. Metal Gear Solid 2, the big shell is the most simplistic like world design, if you want to call it that, I've seen in a video game, really. And that is why Kojima was able to go absolutely insane with level of detail. Ice melting, things you had never ever seen in a video
Right.
game. The reason that you're able to do that is because the game is not large in scale whatsoever. It's a very simple structure, and not even just that, but like the direction, like artistically of that is very simplistic. It's all just like the same color metal everywhere. So if you're just gonna straight up remake 1 and 2, it probably wouldn't be difficult at all. But if you're going to try and remake for modern times Metal Gear Solid 1 or 2, then you're getting into a much more ridiculous endeavor. And that's I think what you're going after right now.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous because like I even used the example of it like 2 with the big shell, right? Like you almost have to base that off the mother bases in 5. Like that's how I sit there and think about it. So then you sit there and go, instead of having like just a small little railway here that connects the shells and you have like the small little corridors of the shells, you then have to fill in all those details now with modern gaming. Whereas here's the thing, if you do a remaster and like say you go in and you update the textures, you update some of this stuff and everything like that, you can get away with that because you're not going to step on anyone's toes for the 2 beloved ones, right? Then that's where I think 3 is beloved, but it's not so beloved to the point to where it's like, don't touch the game, like asset wise at all. Otherwise, we'll be angry. You know what I'm saying? There's a different distinct feel I have that people have with 1 and 2 versus 3 when it comes to that type of stuff. 3 is totally kind of allowed to be played around with in how like developers would come in, like change things, right? 1 and 2, I definitely don't feel like any developer who's going to be doing that is going to have to really watch what they do,
Yeah. We go to chat here for a moment. First off, Braden Black, glad you're so active tonight, which is awesome. Splinter Cell is dead because of the backlash they got by recasting Sam Fisher and the subsequent loss in sales. Reason for the recast was that Ironside had a battle with cancer. Yeah, I know all that, but here's what's funny. The last Splinter Cell game they put out, even though there was a recasting, was considered one of the best Splinter Cell games. Like that was a very well-reviewed Splinter Cell game. So they ended on a high note. It didn't have the sales they should have had, but I feel like there's still a lot of potential in that franchise, and I think they should definitely give it another shot. The stealth genre in general doesn't have the numbers anymore. I think in general, the stealth genre never has had major numbers. I think Metal Gear Solid is one of the few that has been in the 5 to 10 million unit range. That's why Metal Gear Solid is the one that I assume will come back. But yeah, just because a game doesn't do 5 to 10 million though doesn't mean they can't have like a mid AA to AAA budget on it and do something pretty awesome. You know what I mean? There's room for that.
Yeah.
Kena is a perfect example. I mean, Kena is like a small little game, but holy crap, does that look good, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the other weird thing too about Blacklist, Splinter Cell Blacklist. In typical Ubisoft fashion, which is let's be stupid, is that game came out very, very close to PS4, Xbox One. Right? So close. It was not available on those systems. There was never a port. Period.
Right. Yeah.
Not a single one.
It's
done.
so bizarre.
And it was extremely bizarre because the game actually had people like loving it at the time. Especially after the rough E3 showings that the game had. People like were buying it or renting it and they're like, "Oh my god, this is fantastic." And people were getting it, and then yeah, it just right whenever the new consoles came out,
They
It
gave up
got
on it.
dropped.
They just gave
Yep.
up on it entirely. It's so bizarre.
I can't
Um,
remember if Jade Raymond was actually part of that development for
I'm
that
pretty
one.
sure she was. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think she was. And after that is whenever she left Ubisoft because
That
of
sounds about
something
right.
like that happens.
Yeah.
I think it's a timeline.
Could be a fake fan moment there, but I'm pretty sure that Jade
I
Raymond was
hope it's
very
not a fake
involved with
fan moment.
Blacklist. Dark Raven, thank you so much for the follow tonight. First follow coming in. Appreciate you. Mike was saying, if they Dark Souls Castlevania, I will be so upset. Here's the thing, though, Mike. Castlevania hasn't been Castlevania in like how long? I don't even like how far back do you have to go to have like a Castlevania game? First off, it's probably on handheld. It's not on console because console did Lord of Shadows 1 and 2, which was not traditional Castlevania. Like, they haven't done traditional Castlevania on consoles in the longest time. So, like, at this point, like, we should just be happy for anything. And any good Castlevania game. Right? Bloodstain shows it can be a profitable series. Yeah, Bloodstain is Bloodstain, though. Like, once again, like, it's not Castlevania. They haven't done it with Castlevania. So, I think the fan base should just be happy to get a good Castlevania game at this point. Because Lord of Shadows 2, I think, was pretty panned, if I remember right.
Twas. Again, really weird though that Mercury Steam came with that game, but then yet also released Metroid Dread, which is doing fantastic right now. It's interesting.
Mike just needs to get good. We can't have normies in here, Mike. We got to get rid of the normies. And you need to grow up and play the Souls style games.
It's weird though, because like
to put on your big boy pants.
It's weird though because after watching like the anime Netflix series, like I was almost in there going, man, freaking Sony Santa Monica would be, just fantastic for that type of game like that. Like I can imagine a Castlevania that's done like a God of War style, but like God of War 2018. Oh my God, would that have been amazing to have gotten?
Yeah,
but
for sure. Well, we're not done though. Actually, with this Konami story, there's one more, and this one is pretty crazy. Gematsu has also heard that a new Silent Hill is in development from a prominent Japanese developer. That studio is Kojima Productions, according to a publishing source that wishes to remain anonymous, who has also said that the game is funded by Sony Interactive Entertainment. When does it end, Vince? When does it end?
I don't know when it ends. At this point, though, I almost just want to say it's happening because it feels like every other like 4 months we're getting a story about this, and it's getting to the point now where even like the bigger names are going, maybe, like. It's just
announce it already. Like, how long has he been working on this? Like, the freaking smoke to this fire has been stoking for 2 years, I feel like. Like, what the hell is going on? The source who predicted Wolverine said it's not real, though. Okay, that's interesting because she's been very reliable.
So then, all right, that's not true.
That is interesting. It's been so much back and forth. All right.
It makes me wonder if he's doing something with the franchise and people are hearing new game. Yeah. But yet he could be making like a VR project movie or something like that. Or some sort of other multimedia. Because that's one thing that he said he wanted to do with his studio. And we're all sitting there going, oh, he's doing a game. He could just be, maybe he's making a short film with Norman Reedus and Del Toro. Could be doing that.
Here's one thing I'll say about that woman as well that has been getting a lot of notoriety. She said before this story came out, she said that Bluepoint was not remaking Metal Gear Solid. And she also said that it was being made by a China-based studio. So it's like, and then this comes out like a week later in Singapore. I was like, well, damn, like she nailed that. Like that's 100% what's being reported here. So she seems to be the real deal, without a doubt. Brain of Black says, the Silent Hill rumors, LOL, this has been going on for years now, ever since PT. Unless there is an official announcement, consider anything fake. I think somebody's working on it. I do, without a doubt. I think somebody is working on Silent Hill. Is it Bloober? And is it only Bloober? Is there Bloober and Kojima making two separate Silent Hill games? I don't know, but somebody is working on Silent Hill. I do believe that. It's just taking so long for it to be official at this point. Remember that multiple... Yeah, so there you go. Rick said it. I'm guessing that's where the confusion could be. 100% that could be what's throwing a bunch of people off. We're going to start heading towards the wrap-up here, guys. Those were our 4 main topics. We're going to jump into our additional topic here to allow you guys to call in about anything and everything on our Discord at discord.gg/levelupnetwork. Just raise your hand in the stage channel for Next Level Direct, and we will bring you on the show. You can ask us a question about one of these topics or present a new point of conversation. Our final additional topic that I added in here for the night, the initiative is partnering with Crystal Dynamics on Perfect Dark development. Now, this is not outsourcing. Let me make that clear right now. This is not outsourcing. Yeah. They tweeted this out during a Nintendo Direct, if I remember right.
2 hours after Nintendo Direct,
okay,
if I remember right.
They tweeted this out, and they, like, with fanfare, at least from like a Twitter, like, tweet perspective. Like, this wasn't them like shouting from the rooftops, don't get me wrong, because if they wanted to make a really big deal out of this, they would have done it like during like a show or during like primetime Twitter hours or something like that. But they did put it on Twitter, and they acted like it was this big positive thing. Like, we're partnering up with Crystal Dynamics for the development of Perfect Dark Zero. And it's caused an interesting conversation. One about the initiative, one about Crystal Dynamics, the state of each of them, and really the state of this game, right? What's very confusing about it all, in my mind, Microsoft themselves, they said this, that the initiative is a quadruple A studio. Like, that's not a typo. That's not a misspeak. They haven't corrected it or anything like that. They themselves, Microsoft, literally said that the initiative is a quadruple A studio, whatever the hell that means. The only thing I can assume it means is production budget, right? That's what my mind goes to, because typically that is what determines AA, AAA, and now quadruple A. I would consider Last of Us, for example, to be quadruple A. I would consider Red Dead Redemption 2 to be quadruple A if we're going like that route where we're trying to add another tier, spectrum. Like another tier, right, of production value and just budget in general. So this was supposed to be in that league, but this team is small still. They were founded more than 2 years ago at this point, like officially. They probably were in the works even longer than that, but they were officially announced 2 years ago. And they haven't grown enough yet to be able to handle this game on their own. But most importantly, they were given Perfect Dark as a quadruple A studio, but they aren't able to make the game without external help. And a lot of it. Like, they're bringing on a major team from Crystal Dynamics to help with this in a partnership role, like almost like a 50-50 collaboration here. So this game could turn out to be great. Let's just say that right now. This could be awesome. Not saying one way or the other if this game is not going to be good or not. But why would you give a quadruple A title development, something that has all these resources required of it, why would you give it to a team that is not capable of doing that, even though you called them quadruple A? You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's weird because, like, for me, I think I was a very, like, kind of like, I even said it, I was like, oof, on both ends here. Like, it felt weird to me then at the time when the announcement came in. And it's been weird to kind of sit back and kind of analyze and kind of watch the discussion happen on the story and things like that. And it's just, I still find it weird. So I'm forgetting the dude's name, and I apologize, but he's the head of the initiative. He was head of Crystal Dynamics' team that did the Tomb Raider reboot. So this could simply be a, hey, we need help doing favors. Microsoft is facilitating those favors. I think Mike has kind of always said that on our last show. He was saying like the same thing there, working on systems and everything like that. The weirdest thing that is coming from this now is that apparently the initiative's whole design philosophy is supposed to be senior level people taking a project and then running that to another development team and overseeing that development team. And that way this initiative team could be mobile on 3 to 4
So the
projects.
name's almost like symbolic as well, like the initiative, like we're initiating the
so like they will be they are like an incubator, but in the same time they are incubating multiple games at once with these high legendary senior tier you know, designers. And again, it's always been weird to me because like even whenever they started bringing like all these real level talents, and like I was like, I don't see this team staying together very long because
That was the
to me, it was
thing.
almost too much
They
ego,
were like the
right?
dream team. Like everybody
Right.
they were bringing in like top end talent from Activision and Ubisoft and Naughty Dog and
Naughty Dog and
Insomniac. Like they were bringing in
Rockstar. It was everywhere.
Rockstar. They were bringing in like the best of the best. Like this is the dream team, but they can't make like you didn't give them a game that a dream team could make. Like, and if they are what you're saying, where they're just an incubator or an initiator or something like that, then that is not what we were told. Like they were being built up to be this quadruple A dream team studio. So whatever, obviously, like who cares in
Yeah.
the end? Like as long as a good game comes out and this and that. But at the same time, it might be a little disappointing for some people that to know that the Crystal Dynamics team is now no longer available to work on Avengers or a new project. They're now
What
being
happens to
pulled
Tomb
on
Raider
over.
now?
Yeah. So that could be
You know?
disappointing for a certain group. And then on top of that, the initiative themselves. Let's say that they are just a team of 50 to 75 strong. They could have been working on a project that was actually the right fit for them. But now you've completely used them up on a project that they couldn't handle, excuse me, and you've taken on another team entirely to help them. So you've kind of like wasted these teams and their potential. There's the efficiency is completely destroyed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It might be better than what it was going to be if it was just the initiative trying to do Perfect Dark for 7 years. But it could have been much better if they put them on a game that actually would have used their strengths and made them the dream team they were meant to do or be. And then you could have just given Perfect Dark to Crystal Dynamics. They already did that with Rise of the Tomb Raider, right? And
Yeah,
I've heard
they
this
did
could be a
Tomb Raider.
tryout for Crystal Dynamics. So you've done it once. You had them as an exclusive, developer for Rise of the Tomb Raider, at least timed. Bring them on again and make them do Perfect Dark.
Right.
And let the initiative do something that they are fit for.
And it's even weird too, considering like again, this isn't bashing the team or anything like that. It's just with the information that we have right now, with context and everything like that. It's even weird the fact that that Perfect Dark is apparently an episodic game, first person
Right.
episodic game, and it just to me is like if it's episodic, where is all this type of stuff at right now? And it was like it's really weird. It's a very strange thing. And I keep trying to pull myself back on, yeah, you know what? Maybe it's just one of those things that we don't know enough information about. And maybe what they're doing is actually a really cool thing and could change some of that crunch issue that happens in this industry. If you have senior position people going out and whipping up and picking a core group of teams that they want to do with, and they have this project and they're ready to go. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
good thing. Maybe it'll be a
Yeah,
thing
I
that
think
happens.
just say like episodic, your immediate reaction is, oh no, but like they could be doing something interesting with the format.
Right.
Like I'm not going to write it off entirely. But yeah, when I hear episodic, my first response is, oh no. Trying
Oh,
to
no.
do something differently. Oh no. Brandon, so first off, Kiko, thank you so much for the resub at 54 months, 20-month streak. That's amazing. Bringing in Black coming back to say, it is common practice to bring in studios into the development of a game. However, usually they use small studios for that kind of work, and we've already seen that legendary studios can have trouble bringing a game out the door. Duke Nukem Forever for anybody. Right. I mean, how many studios worked on The Last of Us Part 2? A lot of support studios, a lot of outsourcing. That game was not done just by Naughty Dog. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Sony has all these support studios, now Nixis being one of them. They've added on, right? But that's always been their purpose. Sony has this great background of support studios that were entirely built and designed for that reason. It's one of the reasons that their pipeline is so efficient, and one of the reasons that so many feel that it is a great place to develop their game. One of the reasons that Jade Raymond with Haven recently talked about the power of working for PlayStation. So, and I sound like a fanboy right now, but that is something that they've been able to cultivate for a while, and I'm sure it's something that Microsoft is working towards, is having that type of support structure. But that is completely different than going to an established, well-known AAA studio like Crystal Dynamics and not just outsourcing to them in a small capacity, but literally announcing on Twitter that you are partnering with them for the development of this game.
Yeah, that's just that to me is the weirdest part of it, was that we just got a tweet of that. I feel like if it was like, since is a major thing happening, I feel like there should have been a more dedicated segment to that, not just a tweet. I think that's where I really struggle with the whole, why did we need to know this now? type deal.
Right.
Like I think this would have been cool at the second part of the next thing of Perfect Dark. They would have shown that off, and they'd have been like, "This is what was possible with us working in co-development with Crystal
I'll
Dynamics,
tell you
Thunder's
exactly why they
applause
did
to
it,
everyone."
because they
Yeah,
wanted to be the one to announce it. Is 100% why it is. Because if this came out and was leaked by somebody credible,
like Jeff.
like Jeff Grubb or anybody for that matter that was credible, it would have been a completely different response than it already is. Like it already was relatively negative. It would have been a shitstorm if it wasn't
Yeah,
Microsoft that announced this themselves. So they are getting ahead of what really could be misconstrued as bad news. Um,
right.
I mean, it could be bad news. It really could be. It could be that this game is in development hell. It could mean that the initiative is losing people because they are. A lot of people that went to the initiative have since left the initiative and gone back to where they came from. Like, there's been that happening already. Maybe things aren't so good internally. Not saying for sure that is the case, but it's a
Yeah.
possibility. It might be that things are not in good shape at the initiative and they desperately needed the help for this game to come out anytime soon and be anywhere close to the quality that it needs to be, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I hope it's a winner for them. Because I think both teams can deserve a win now at this point. Initiative with being a debut, and honestly, Crystal Dynamics. I mean, they've
Yeah.
been on a rough streak lately, So maybe it would be nice for them to actually at least get something nice under their belt for once.
What do you think of this statement from a few on Twitter that this is a tryout for Crystal
I don't
Dynamics?
I don't like it because it's weird to me. But at the end of the day, if Square wants to sell off Crystal Dynamics, that is on Square, and the business sense makes sense. It's whatever. I
Yeah,
just
Avengers is kind of. I mean, I know
it's
that you like it, just
oh, I
fine,
like it.
but
I'll defend it. But
even more
$175 million game,
recently, some
yeah,
of the news surrounding Avengers is once again not so good.
right.
So yeah, that game is kind of a cluster F at this point.
Oh, it's been a cluster F the entire time.
Yeah,
It's been one of those things that it's weird. But what sucks is just that like I don't know. I don't know.
it all sucks.
It all sucks, no matter what. Because again, if we have Crystal Dynamics getting bought by Microsoft, it's more industry consolidation. It'd be the same way if Sony bought anything else like that. It just is just it's just getting to the point now to where like there's acquisitions that could still happen, and I like to see things that would more make sense. And Crystal Dynamics being bought by Microsoft only makes sense because of people on the initiative seem to have a relationship there, and that's just kind of I don't know. It's weird. It's hypocritical, I guess, in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. If Square starts selling off studios like that, then I just wonder what's going to start happening to places like just yeah. The
Yeah,
last thing we need to see is Amazon or Google starting to open up the wallets again, because those will be offers you
yeah.
really can't refuse.
Yep, industry consolidation is kind of a scary thing without a doubt,
Yeah.
but it's not stopping. That's for sure. For sure. I
No, it's
mean,
not stopping, unfortunately.
PlayStation. Is this like actually true that they are hiring somebody dedicated to inorganic growth? Is that a real thing that I saw?
Yeah, that was a real thing.
Like that is the best thing ever. That is just hilarious. That's almost satire
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. Like, okay, yeah. So we're gonna keep cultivating these studios that we have partnerships and everything like that with. But because our competitor is buying stuff out too, we're also gonna start buying things.
Yeah, that's
Like,
kind of what it says. When you really break it
yeah,
down, they've been pushing organic growth for such a long time now. And what they have defined that as is either growing studios organically, like meaning bringing in new people and just growing the studios longer, maybe turning them into two teams, or bringing in teams, acquiring teams that are synonymous with PlayStation, that have a history with PlayStation, like Bluepoint, for example. That's
Bluepoint.
organic growth. Inorganic growth is what Microsoft is doing. So for them to hire somebody dedicated to inorganic growth probably means that you're going to start seeing PlayStation going after studios that they have no affiliation with or no history with.
It's
So,
interesting too with their European strategy because they're going after a lot of Europe, from what I've been seeing now lately. There's been lots of talks about the potentiality of, I think it was Ubisoft at this point.
hmm.
There was a lot of potentiality there, which I was like, that would be one of the most insane things upon
That would be more
insanity
than
upon
Bethesda. That
insanity.
would probably be like a $10+ billion acquisition if you got all of Ubisoft.
Yeah, but would it though? Because of how
I think
much,
so.
Yeah, I
Also,
guess.
just thinking about the logistics of it all too. Forget their value as far as
The
acquiring
publisher
them.
aspect.
The number of employees that work for Ubisoft is absolutely ridiculous. Imagine bringing all of those, or trying to bring all those on your payroll. How many do you let go? There would be a lot of turnover, a lot of loss, like a lot of people being let go. It would be a kind of a messy situation, I would imagine, trying to acquire a publisher that large.
Yeah, same thing with Square. Same thing with Cap, I think, at this point. Capcom. Sorry, I don't know why I just said
With
Cap.
Cap,
That's weird.
with Captain
With
America.
Cap.
That is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we did not get any calls tonight. I'm starting to wonder if we just start doing this thing on Discord, or on Twitch, I mean, and only on Twitch. Because we once again did not get any calls in for this episode of Next Level Direct, which is okay. At least you guys were active in the chat. That was very nice.
Yeah,
We got
that was very
20
nice.
people on Twitch, actually 23 people on Twitch now, and we did have the most number of people ever listening on Discord. We got up to 9 people listening on Discord, which is the best we've ever done on Discord with Next Level Direct. This is a relatively new show for us, only episode 3, our first episode that we've ever done on Twitch. So we hope that you enjoyed it. We will be back next month, November 14th, for the episode 4 of Next Level Direct. Maybe that will be only on Twitch. We will, of course, let you guys know. Either way, get on our Discord at discord.gg/levelupnetwork. Become a part of the community when we are not live. And if we do the next episode also on Discord, you'll be able to take advantage of that.
King Kurt. You
What's
can
that?
call. King Kurt was like, oh shit, I can call?
Yes, you can raise your
Yes.
hand. You can raise your hand on Discord, and
Yeah,
we
so-
can bring you onto the show. That's kind of the whole point of stage channels.
Yeah. So in the Next Level Direct channel, like where you're seeing like the stage channel, the very bottom there should be like a hand or something like that, to where you like raise your hand. That's how we bring you on.
Right, going back to Green and Black real quick, inorganic growth is not new. EA did it way back in the day with a bunch of studios, among them Origin Games and many others. I mean, really, no matter what, when you're first starting, you're going to do inorganic growth, right? Sony is not new to inorganic growth. The very first thing they did as a major move was acquiring Psygnosis. Way back in like 1995 or whatever it was. That was inorganic growth, and that was a very big deal at the time. But that's kind of where it has to start, right? And I guess Microsoft felt like they were also in that position where they couldn't play catch up by doing organic growth in the same way PlayStation felt like they couldn't play catch up to Nintendo doing organic growth. So they had to resort to inorganic. I don't want to act like inorganic growth is like the devil. I do think there's like a line where it's like, okay, like, come on, like, what the hell? You got 23 studios now. Like, can we take a break from the inorganic growth for a little bit? Like the industry consolidation, it starts to get a little bit frustrating. But it's not the devil. Like it makes sense from a business perspective many times. I get why it's done. It's just unfortunate for gamers because it often results in the loss of those IPs to a certain audience. And even though Microsoft is pretty good about finding ways for their audience to play their games, whether it be on PC or Game Pass or Xbox itself, the end is really that, hey, I am on PlayStation. I can no longer play Starfield. I can no longer play Elder Scrolls 6. I can no longer play Fallout 4. And if I don't have a gaming PC and I don't have the money to buy Xbox, then that's just the way it is. Right?
Yeah.
So
for now.
And Game Pass, you could do streaming, I guess, but streaming still isn't really the best. And I think a lot of people still feel a certain barrier to streaming as well. So there's still that in addition. But I do also want to thank everybody who's been here, especially our producers. Let's start with executive producers, $50 or above, either on Twitch or on Patreon. They are Brock Baz023S and also Sherry White Topaz 1, our executive producers. And then going down to our producers at $25, either on Twitch or on Patreon, we have Duroc11 and Norwegian Yeller, aka Store. If you want to be a producer, you can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/levelupnetwork with a $25 or above pledge, or you can become a tier 3 sub here on Twitch. Or you could do both, and that'll get you into the executive producer category. I'm actually about to go live, or stay live.
Yeah.
Since we are already on Twitch, I will be playing Resident Evil 8 tonight. It has downloaded. That is one of the reasons, by the way, that I started dropping frames during the stream on Twitch, was because I was downloading Resident Evil 8. So I'll be doing scare tips tonight, and the new stream timer and all that right here at twitch.tv/The Level Up Show. And even though Vince is taking a break, I don't care. Give him a follow just in case you come back.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you'll come back.
I'm sure I will.
Twitch.tv/Agent Vincent 4756. So
Thanks,
yeah.
buddy.
And Tom as well, Jersey_Tom, even though
Yeah.
he couldn't be here tonight. He was stuck in traffic is what he told us. So give him the follow at twitch.tv/Jersey_Tom. And we hope to see you next month with episode 4 of Next Level Direct. Until then, take care. And as always, don't forget to level up, everybody.